Hi y'all. Have you ever wanted to make your own glaze, but you didn't know how to? Okay, well, I feel ya. My name is Tova and I make ceramics. I am a clay instructor and I love anything crafty in books. So today I'm actually going to go outside and make my own glaze. I'm going to start with a clear and then add a color into it, so I'm keeping it really simple. And I will show you the list of instructions as I get outside, so you can also do this too. Actually, in 2021 and 2022, I took a few glaze making classes. I forgot everything. Good thing I took notes. So I remember taking notes. I also bought one of the books that we use. We started making a clear glaze, which is a great base, and even just how to understand making glazes. And something to know, I am firing at a high cone 5. And so yes, I will be using a recipe from this book. It's actually, I think it's Hansen. It's the first clear glaze on, let me look at the page. Okay, so it's actually right here. So yeah, it's 5 ingredients: custard feldspar, silica, wollastonite, kaolin. I could be saying all these words wrong. And Frit 3134. I also added some of the bentonite and the Insight CTE. So I do think this is great to just follow a recipe that we know should work because it's been tested through time. And I'm excited just to get back into making my own glazes. If you followed me in my last video, I actually went to send a few pieces to the kiln, and when I went to a new ceramic studio to fire, I saw like a full wall. It was like a dream wall of glazes, and they made all of their glazes. They started with the clear glaze, and then they added an opacifier to bring out that color, that white color, and they started adding colorants and different ingredients to the glazes, and that's how they started their wall, the wall of dreams, I would like to say. I want to do that eventually, but we'll start with the clear and maybe add the color if I have time in this video. But yes, let's get started and go outside to play. Okay, first off, grab a journal because you will need to take notes, and these notes will help you understand and make valuable insights and test as you fire along the way. And I grabbed all of my supplies from Clay People, which is a local store to me, but if you don't have a local store, you can always find these ingredients online. So following this list, if you are following this specific recipe with me in this book, one important ingredient that I'm sharing here that I think everyone should have is a respiratory protection mask. I think you should find a P100 mask. This is one that is medical grade, non-toxic, and it helps prevent silica and dust from entering into your lungs, and also fume too. So get a high grade mask to wear while you are making clay mixes. You will need a pint of water to run this glaze test. You will also need tape to label your containers to indicate the ingredients, and of course, test tiles and various clay bodies to measure different variables. Don't forget a spoon and containers, and of course, a weigh machine. So I add the cup on the machine to consider its weight first, and then I tare it to 0 to use. So let's start with EPK. EPK is known as kaolin in the book, and I will add 20 grams of EPK to this glaze recipe. Next up I have silica, and I actually just needed to remove some silica from this container. So I'm removing the amount to get to 20 grams. I pour all of my ingredients in one container and keep my ingredients separately as I'm measuring them out so I don't cross-contaminate. Next up we have bentonite, and I also had more than what I needed in this bentonite container. I only need 2 grams, so I'm removing to get to the number 2. So I'm going to make a new container for my next ingredient, mahavir, which is known as a feldspar. Starting fresh by pouring in this one into a container to get to 20 grams. And we also have wollastonite. I'm sorry if I'm saying this word wrong. Ooh. Okay. So we're adding 20 grams. And what I really like about this ingredient mix, it's easy. There's 5 ingredients and they're all 20, which gets us to 100. Bentonite and our frit afterwards do not count as the 100. And finally, we have our frit 3134. Let's add that in. Voila. Okay, let's add some water. Started the formula at 60 ml of water. So I have a separate hand mixer that I do not use for food to mix my glazes. And so I blend all the ingredients together and bring it back to sieve. Okay, BRB while I go mix my ingredients. Okay, I'm back. It's still chunky, and I actually started immediately testing and forgot to sieve first. So now I'm back sieving, and I wanted to fully understand a few more ingredients, and so test along the way. And so I will sieve as I move forward. Okay, so there's this Insight CTE which I was kind of unsure about, and I used frit 3124 as this ingredient. So I actually tested this separately to understand what is the difference between the main ingredients and this one that's added afterwards. Okay, so let's add this variable on my test tiles. Okay, here's the outcome of this glaze recipe in mid-fire cone 5. I chose the colorant Wedgwood and added 4 grams of this ingredient. I mixed it again with a hand mixer and sieved it again, and now I'm ready to test it on a few clay tiles. I thought the outcome of this clear blue glaze came out really beautiful. I did find it a bit dark and it was closer to navy. So next time I will try this test maybe at 2 grams instead of 4. So I used titanium dioxide as my opacifier, and I added around 9.75 grams to the already 100 gram mix. And I also added in 10 more milliliters of water, just because the glaze was getting on the thick side. The outcome was a bit more lavender and lighter, and I do think this is a beautiful color. I will move forward with this batch color and thinking about some of my spring blues. So yes, I am happy with this outcome, but I would love in the future to see it be a bit more bright and bold. So in my next round of thinking about this, I will consider increasing Wedgwood when I add an opacifier to the mix. I also brushed on the sample to understand how the dip and brush look differently, and both came out pretty nice. Okay, friends, I hope you were really inspired by this glaze demonstration, and maybe this will get you started on your own glaze making journey. So, tell me what your thoughts are about this video. Have you ever made a glaze before? And tell what were some of the outcomes that you saw. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again.